Hi everybody, it's Sam here. Thank you for watching today. So for this week's scraps cards, I'm going to be using my plain coloured cardstock and lots of strips. Some really fun designs, so let's get into it. So for card number one, I'm using my square nested dies. Now what I've done with these is I've stuck them together so that they're all equally spaced. So just as I would have them on my magnetic sheet, I've actually just taped them together there. And then I've ran them through with all different colours. So first of all, the red. I've done a rainbow order here. So once that's die cut, it will be all together like this, and you just separate all of the squares. Now you're actually going to be able to make a lot of cards with all of these pieces. So what I'm going to do is show you some more ideas in next week's scraps video. So if you want to keep the rest until then you know, just pop them to one side. Otherwise you can carry on and make more cards with them and just have more inspiration next week. But you'll see there, so that's what it looks like when you die cut all of those together. It will be like this with the rest in there as well. But I've just gone ahead and cut them in all of these colours, and then I'm going to take one from each pile. So I'm starting off with the red, because that's the first colour. Then I'm going to have the second size in the orange. That's going to go inside. Then I want the third size in the yellow. And I'm going to pop this on a 6x6 card, and then it will be the fourth size down. Oh, actually no, it's green then blue. Some of you were probably saying then, wrong order, Sam. So there's the green, and then the blue, and then I've got my lighter colour there. And for the middle, I'm just going to keep that white. So you've got all of this left over, so you can just create loads more cards like this. But like I said, I've got some more ideas. I'm going to share those next week. So I'm going to pop all this to one side, and then I've got my 6x6 card blank here. So I'm going to grab some of my Coloured glue here. So I'm going to stick this directly onto the card blank. I'm not going to add any mats and layers onto this. So I just want to get the first one nice and centered. And then I'm just going to add the rest of the glue now inside the card, just leaving a little section in the middle, like so. And I'm just going to stack the rest of those inside. Then for the sentiment, just having a little play around with my stamps. I've just snipped the yay from the yay for today from my Papercraft Society kit. I'm going to have that in the middle, and then I'm going to have awesome, which is from my Made to Surprise Sentiments 2 set, running down each side, and then you did it on each side. Just thought that would look quite nice. You could also have a happy birthday card. You could have happy birthday running all the way around, like multiple times, and you could have maybe the number in the middle there. So I'm gonna just do one stamp at a time. So let's get the awesome in place first. So that's card number one. I think it's turned out really well. It's a really easy card to do. It's very quick as well, and you can batch make this and use any shaped nested dies that you like. So for card number two, I'm going to do 4 kind of sections using these strips here, and then I'm going to keep a white section in the middle, white, and then I'm going to have that to stamp my message. That's the plan. So what I've done here is I've cut a piece of 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. This is going to go on a 6x6 card blank. And what you might want to do first, I'm just going to use one of these squares that I've got to hand. It depends how big your sentiment is, so I'm probably going to go a little bit larger. But you don't want to die cut anything, but you just want to almost draw around this piece. So any size square, it depends, like I said, the size of your sentiment. You could, what I'm going to show you, you could cover the whole card and then stick your sentiment on top if you don't want to stamp directly into it. I'm just wondering whether that might be a bit easier actually. Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'm going to get a really small square, because you still kind of need a square to work off, because that means you'll keep everything straight. So I'm just going to grab a little square here, and I'm just going to get it in the middle and just draw around that just lightly with a pencil. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. Then just cut 1/2-inch strips. They're all the same kind of length. I didn't bother trimming them because I'm going to trim them once they're stuck down. And the colours, obviously, it's entirely up to you. I've gone for the Tutti Frutti colours. I love these three together. You see me use this kind of combo a lot. So what I'm going to do is your first strip, you want to sit towards the top left corner of the square, and then you're just going to run it right along and off the side here, and then you'll trim this. And then you'll put your next colour above, like so. And then, in fact, we're going to have the yellow, and then the orange, and then back to the pink again, and then finish with the yellow. I may not end up trimming it, the top. I might just leave that and stick it directly onto the card, because I don't really want to lose any of the 1/2-inch. But that's what you want to do first of all. So I'm going to stick those down. Then you're going to work the next ones coming down this way, but I want to start with a different sequence. So I'm going to have the yellow and then orange and pink and so on, and stick them all down there. Then you would do the next ones and so on. Then what I'm going to do, because I just want to get this all the same size again, so I'm just going to cut just so it's the same width that I've got overhanging here. If you want to cut right up to the white, you can, because that's what I did intend to do, but I'm going to keep it so that I have that full 1/2-inch on the top there, because that means all the rest are going to line up now. So you would have seen me just add my glue all in this section here, just quicker. You might have double-sided tape here, you might use your tape runners, but now I can just lay that down. You've got the wiggle room as well when you use your wet glue. So then I'll use, let's do the pink. So it's the same order, I'm just starting with a different colour. Okay, so that's them stuck down. I am going to have to trim that one. So you can start to see this effect, and then you're going to turn it, and now we're going to come down this way here. So again, I'm just going to add the glue. Okay, I ended up trimming it all down around that white. I knew I would do. I don't think you really notice that this one's thinner. You know, my eye's not drawn to that at all. So anyway, that's the effect you're going to have. And then you'll see I'm going to pop it on some foam, and it's going to go onto the 6x6 card blank. So it's got that nice white border. So I forgot I wanted to use the embossing folder with this one. So I've already had the foam, but I think it's still going to work okay. So I'm going to run this through. I'm using the Sweets and Treats 6x6 embossing folder. I just thought, because I was doing the Tutti Frutti colourway, it would work well with this sweet theme. So I'm going to give it a go. I might have to use some muscle, but I'm sure it'll be okay. That worked really well. So, but it's quite funny. Look at the impression it's left all on the back of the foam there as well. But the foam's popped back into shape, so... But I've got a feeling it's probably, yeah, it's cut through some of this. This is going to be fiddly to take off now. So that's card number 2 finished. I used the sentiment and stamps from my Sweet Editions stamp set. You see I've just built them up there, and then I've just used some of my embellishments from these sets here. Again, I'll link as much as I can in the description box below, but I think that's come together really nicely. So that's card number 2. So for card number 3, this is going to be a 5x7 size. So I've cut this piece and embossed it. This is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and I've used the Creative Bark embossing folder. You can see it gives you that really nice detail. And then I've already die cut the word thanks using my chunky alphabet die set. Really nice size, these ones. And I've also die cut them again using some of the 2mm fun foam. It's just the foam that you can buy in the kids departments in the craft stores. It just gives it some dimensions. You'll see there they're all quite thick. So I'm working with 3 colours here. So I've got the pink, yellow, blue, and then pink, yellow, blue. And I'm going to have it coming down on an angle here. So I've cut these strips here. The length, you're going to trim them, so don't worry, just, you know, make sure they're long enough to be able to do what I'm doing. So I'm going to start off with one at the top here, and then the T is going to be next to it, and then I've got the yellow, and this is going to come out about 1/2 inch in front of that strip, and then that one's going to go there, and then the blue is going to come out again about 1/2 inch, and I've got a little gap in between. And then I'm going to have the A, the N, and then the yellow, and then finishing with the S. So just goes in there. So I'm probably, now you can just move them around. But yeah, it's about 1/2 inch in front of the, you know, the previous one. And they will fit in there just perfectly. And I've got a little white gap at the top, little white gap at the bottom. What I think I'm going to do first of all is stick the thanks down, so all of the letters. So I'm going to use my quick grab glue here. Okay, so that's those in place, and now I'm going to, in fact, I think I'm just going to add my glue along here, and then just lay the strips down on the glue. I mean, you could add foam if you wanted this lifted as well, but I like the letters are lifted, you know, above everything else. So that's all that's stuck down, and then I always like to trim from the back of the card because you get a much neater finish. And then you can keep all them and do another card exactly the same, because they will definitely fit. So I've just stuck that on top of the card using some foam, so there's a bit of dimension on the white piece there. And then I've just added some glossy accents over the letters there, just to give it some shine. So that's card number 3. So for card number 4, again, this is on a 5x7, but this is going to be landscape. I'm going to do rainbow colours, but I'm going to create an eclipse card. So I know I've got lots of new people joining the channel. I've done eclipse cards before many times. I've done them for lots of magazine commissions, and I do have a tutorial on the channel. If I remember to link it, I'll pop it up here. But again, anybody new, you've never seen an eclipse card. So what I thought I would do is I've just cut these strips. They're all different widths. I want to leave a very, very, very slight white gap in between. I'm only going to have a couple of each colour, like strips, so that'll probably be enough for the red, because I want to get all the colours of the rainbow down here. So let's get a couple of orange. So this piece that I'm working on is 4 3/4 again by 6 3/4, so it's just going to sit over the 5x7 card just nicely, but I want the smallest white gap, just a little one. And then again with the orange. So that's the pattern that I'm going for. So I'm now going to stick all of these down. You could, if you wanted to, add double-sided tape, a whole sheet onto that 6 3/4 by 4 3/4 piece. Have the white gap and then sprinkle glitter into the gaps, but I don't want to do that. I just want to keep it crisp white. So I'm going to just use my quick grab glue and just run a small bead along all of those strips. Okay, so that's all stuck down. I've got a little bit more white at the bottom there, but again, you're not really going to notice that. So then I'm just going to trim off the edges there. So you've now got that really nice background. You could just pop a sentiment now on top of that, stick it onto the front of your card blank, and you've got a card. But I now want to create an eclipse effect. So I'm going to use again my chunky alphabet here. And I'm going to have happy birthday, and I'm going to die cut the happy birthday into here, but you don't throw anything away. We're going to use those letters and we're going to lift them. So I'm just going to play around for a moment with these to get them in place. So I'm going to cut the birthday first along here. I've popped the P there just so I can get an idea for spacing with the happy above. Just want to get these nicely lined up. Just make sure I've got the same kind of gap along the edge there. And I'm going to use some tape. And I'm going to tape them all down together. When you've got it like this, it's much easier now to work with. It's almost like it's one die, so I can just move it around a bit more. I just want to make sure, again, I've got the same kind of gap on the top and the bottom. Now I'm going to come up a little bit more and bring that down. I think that's about right, so I'm going to run that one through. Make sure you keep all of the pieces inside the letters as well. You need all of them, because you literally don't waste anything that you cut. I did miss a bit there. I seem to have lost it, so I've got a little strip here that I'm just going to fill in there in a moment. But what you want to do next, you're going to stick this flat onto your card front. So I'm going to use the cloud glue, and what I've already gone ahead and done with the letters is I've die cut them again on some foam. You want to lift them, and that will give the eclipse look. This is the 2mm, very cheap and cheerful foam. You get all different colours. I've got the blue there. I just tried to get a couple of colours that matched up closest to the colours that I've used on the letters here. So I'm going to stick this down first. Okay, so whilst that's drying, now you want to piece back in all of the letters, including all of these pieces as well. So I'm going to use my quick grab glue, just pop a little bit on the back and just slot it right back in, and then I'll do those bits at the very end. And that's the card finished. I'm not going to add any more to this. I was thinking about adding a few sequins, but I think I'm just going to keep it completely plain. And that's the eclipse effect. So it's not until you start to move it that you start to see the words more clearly. And I've added glossy accents onto this one again as well. So really lovely effect. I haven't done this for some time, so it's really nice to revisit it again. And it works with anything, any dies, any backgrounds. It's a really, really fun design to try. And then for card number 5, this is a 5x7 size. So again, I've got a piece of card here which is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and this is going to sit on top of my 5x7 card blank. I've gone for more darker colours with this one here, and really, really easy, just lots of leftover strips that I have, and I'm going to just start laying them down. So what I did do is I cut them, I think this was 1.5, and then I've just cut them all slightly smaller than that piece. But I'm going to just sit them in here in no real order, again with a bit of a white gap, but the one at the very bottom I'm going to die cut hello through the middle of it and stick that down. I'm not going to keep the letters, I'm just going to have the white popping through this darker piece because I think it'll look really nice. So I'm just trying to separate the darker ones from the lighter ones. I might pop, so again just a little bit of white coming through. And I think I got that one in there as well. And that one just, or did I have them right butted up to each other? Maybe I did actually. what I'll do is I'm going to cut another strip and just fill that top piece there. So I'm going to stick all those down. What I'm going to do is just cover this whole piece. I'm literally down to the last bit of this glue before I have to fill it out up again. I'm just going to cover all of this. It's much easier that way. And then I'm going to die cut. Before I stick the last one down, I'll just die cut hello using the same dies. So again, I've just popped it on some foam. It's a very plain card. I think this might be the most simplest card I've ever made, but I really like its simplicity, very clean. And I've just decided to have hi instead of hello, and I've just stamped friend there. You could add a lot more to this, and maybe I should have embossed that one because there's quite a lot of, obviously, you know, blocked space there that could have easily had a pattern, but it's another idea and you can certainly do a lot more with it. So that's all 5 cards. I'll do a quick recap. So that's a close-up of card number 1. Really like that style. Then you have this fun one here with the embossed detail as well. Then there's this one. You can see the glossy accents have dried now, so it's nice and shiny. Then we have the eclipse card. Really cool effect with that one. And then lastly, again, the hi friend that I just made. So I really enjoy hearing which ones you like, so just pop in the comments what's your favourites, 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. It really helps me because when I look at the comments then I can kind of see which ones people favour more, and then it just gives me more inspiration and ideas for future videos. So as always, I'll try and link as much as I can in the description box below, and I'll be back again next week with more fun tutorials using your scraps. Take care.